In this video, I will show you how to make this really cute baby doll top. It is very easy and beginner friendly, and I will take you through each step of the sewing pattern. You can find the sewing pattern in the link in the description. So to start, you will need to print out your pattern and cut out your fabric. This pattern works really well with flowy, lightweight cotton. Then in the next step, we will hem the edge of the sleeve. So fold the edge of the sleeve twice, concealing the raw hem. And pin this in place. Then I will put it through my sewing machine. And then I will give it a press. In the next step, we will prepare the bias tape. And because we need a very long piece of bias tape, I will first attach all of my pieces together. We will attach the edges of the bias tape on the diagonal, right sides facing each other, wrong side facing yourself. Then I will draw a line with my washable marker. Then I will just put that through my sewing machine and sew on top of my washable marker line. We will use this method to attach the bias tape pieces so the seams are less bulky. Then I will cut the excess seam allowance, and then I will take it to my ironing board and press open the seam. Then to make the bias tape, I will fold each side inward towards the middle, and I like to use this little TikTok hack where you put pins in your ironing board and then you can just pull the bias tape through as you are ironing it. And now we have one long piece of bias tape. Then in the next step, we will attach the front and the back, and we will do this using a French seam. So put your fabric pieces together, wrong sides facing each other, right side facing yourself. Pin it together at the side, and then put it through your sewing machine. Remember that the right side should be facing yourself, and the wrong sides are facing each other. Then I will cut off some of the excess seam allowance. And turn the fabric around to the wrong side. Then I will pinch out the seam and pin this in place. And then I will put it through my sewing machine. Then to sew the other side, I will fold the fabric onto its right side with the wrong sides facing each other and pin it in place again. Then putting it through my sewing machine. And cutting off some of the excess seam allowance. Then I will turn the top on the wrong side and pinch out the seam again and pin it in place. Then I will put it through my sewing machine and take it to my ironing board. Then in the next step, we will attach the sleeves with a French seam, but you can also decide to finish the armhole with bias tape and then also attach the sleeves through the bias tape. But here we will use the French seam method. So I will attach the sleeve to the top, wrong sides facing each other, right side of the sleeve facing myself, and pin this in place. Then I will put it through my sewing machine, and I will cut off some of the excess seam allowance. Then I will turn over the sleeve, enclosing the raw hem, and pinch out the seam, and then pinning this in place. Then I will take it to my sewing machine, and now the front of the sleeve is attached. Now with the top's wrong side facing myself, we will attach the back of the sleeve. So make sure the wrong sides are facing each other and fold this over with a curve, how a sleeve would look, and pin this in place. Then I will take it to my sewing machine, and cut off the excess seam allowance. Then I'm folding this over just like before, concealing the raw hem and pinching out the seam, and pinning this in place. And then I will take it to my sewing machine. And now we have attached the sleeve. And now you can do this to both of the sleeves. Then I will take it to my ironing board, and it is important here that you iron the seam downwards. Then in the next step, I will fold the top to the right side, and we will attach the bias tape that will be used as the lace or string channel. So attach the right side of the bias tape to the right side of the top, and do this all along the front and the back and over the sleeves. Then I will leave a few inches unsewn on either side of the bias tape so that we can sew these together later. So I'll put it through my sewing machine, and remember to not sew all the way around the bias tape yet. Then I will pin the two edges together and mark with my washable marker where the two pieces would meet. And then I will sew these two pieces together on the washable marker line. Then I'll cut off some of the excess seam allowance and pin the bias tape to the top again, and sew what was previously unsewn. And this is what the bias tape should look like now. Then in the next step, I will fold the top on the wrong side, and I will also fold the bias tape towards the wrong side, and pinning this in place. And pin it all around, but don't sew it yet, because we'll first make a buttonhole opening at the front to later insert the lace or the string. So take away some of the pins at the front and mark the middle of the front. Then also make a marking in the lower half of the lace channel. And use your buttonhole presser foot to make a buttonhole. Then I will open the buttonhole with my seam ripper and a small scissor. And then pin the area in place again and top stitch all the way around the bottom edge of the bias tape. Then I will take it to my ironing board. And then in the next step, I will sew another straight stitch in the middle of the bias tape. So we will have the lace or string go through the bottom channel, and the top channel will make a really cute ruffle. Then in the next step, we will hem the armhole. So I will start by cutting a small slit into the fabric so that we can turn it around and conceal the raw hem. And this is why it's important that you iron the seam of the sleeve downwards so that we have this fabric to be able to hem the armhole. So pin this in place and put it through your sewing machine. Instead of using the hemming method, you can also hem the armhole with bias tape as you are attaching the sleeve, as mentioned in the beginning of the tutorial. So do this to both armholes. And then in the next step, we will hem the bottom of the top. So fold the hem twice towards the wrong side, concealing the raw hem, and pin this in place. And then you can put it through your sewing machine. And then I will take it to my ironing board and iron the bottom hem and the armhole. Then in the next step, we will create the string. If you already have a store-bought lace, you can skip this step, but if you want to make it yourself, you can follow along. So fold the fabric together, right sides facing each other, wrong side facing yourself. The width here doesn't matter much, because I like to put my folded fabric on the right side and my raw hem on the left side, and use the seam allowance guide to guide how wide my strap is, instead of guiding my seam. Then I will cut off some of the excess seam allowance, and use a safety pin and a loop turner hook to turn the strap on the right side. And then I will take it to my ironing board. Then in the next step, I will attach a small safety pin to my string and insert it inside of the buttonhole opening. And then once you have your string out on the other side, you can start to adjust the ruffles. Then I like to tie little knots on my string to prevent any fraying. Then once you have adjusted the ruffles to your liking, the top is done. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment, and I will see you in the next one.